What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're reviewing Hegemony. Hegemony. And we have a special treat. We brought in a third person to better represent the dueling classes.
Yay!
Yeah, you'll be working class.
I'll be working class today.
I'm going to be capitalist, you'll be middle class. Hegemony is an asymmetric hand management game that plays in roughly 3 hours. Every class, be it capitalist, middle class, working class, or the state, are doing their best to outperform the other classes. On your turn, you'll play a card from your highly personalized hand of cards, and then choose whether you'll play it for the action written on the card, or discard it for the basic action. After a grueling 5 rounds of negotiating, yelling, and probably crying, the game ends, and whoever has the most points has achieved hegemony. The theme of this game is incredibly impressive. Like I was pretty shocked. For what felt like mechanically a fairly simple game, everything felt like it perfectly matched what it should have, you know?
This is how people should design games, where you have a theme first, you have an idea that you want to communicate, and then you find mechanisms that fit in with how it kind of is in real life.
Mike, can you come please help me in the kitchen? You've been on the couch watching anime all day.
Let's find out. Oh, sorry, look, I pulled more of my cubes than I did of yours from the bag. You know, I gotta stay here and watch Jujutsu Kaisen. You know, it's not me, it's just them's the rules. Sorry.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like after playing many games with Mike and Kim that are obviously very fictional, playing a game that is a little bit more realist for a fairly novice board game player, it was kind of refreshing. If you understand the theme, I think the rules of the game is just like a quick learn.
It feels so like educational, and not in a
I'm learning.
and not in like a force it down your throat kind of way. Like
Yeah.
it feels like a. I'm not a big like RPG type player or like a D&D type player. I don't, not my thing, because I don't want to jump in.
We'll get her to do that eventually for this channel. Mike, you could join. We'll do D&D. But that's a different topic.
But my point is that this game, like whatever class or faction, whatever you're given of the state, you feel like you jump into those shoes pretty like naturally. It doesn't feel forced at all. It feels like you really believe like, no, free healthcare really is the best thing. Or like, you know, you really start to believe that and you really want that. And I don't know how a game's able to do that.
I feel like also if you choose different classes, you actually felt vested in, you know, making sure that your class was really well represented and the cards that you use really represented their best interest.
More so than any other game, it's like Kim was saying, like it does feel as if the game is encouraging a sense of role-playing. Like, I'll be damned if you're able to play this game on your first or second play and not feel like you are that class. Like when the state starts increasing taxes, when you're the capitalist, you're like, what is this? I'm being oppressed. What is this nonsense?
It's so painful.
Every character, every class is able to propose a bill, and they essentially can move a policy to the left or to the right. Through that, mechanically, you are facilitating a great amount of table talk and interaction between the players. If you're the middle class, you can be like, well, you know what? I'm gonna decrease the cost of healthcare. Here, I'll vote for you, working class, but you know, you gotta help me out over on this policy.
Yeah, I'm just like, because you're so, you believe that you're that class, right? You're able to negotiate and kind of like make under the table agreements. Like, you know, if I lower the prices of these things, and lower the price of import goods, you can buy for me, so it's cheaper for you, that kind of thing. There's all these discussions that I think a lot of games discourage. And I think it's a big missed opportunity that this game really does capitalize on.
It is a different game in a sense that most games you're either working for yourself or your own board, or you're really coming after other people.
Yeah.
This game somehow makes it so that you're kind of watching for your own, again, your own class, but you need to make some concessions with the other classes too.
You can't operate in a little bubble.
Exactly, yeah, yeah.
In society.
Yeah, you can't just close in and go on your own thing.
That's why you lost the first game you played.
I did. I was the middle class, and I was just like, wow, I can create businesses and I can go to work. I'll just ignore
Can't do it
everybody
all
at the
by
table.
yourself.
I got nothing passed, no bills are being passed. I just lost. So the way the voting works is you draw these little cubes from a bag, and if people vote yay or nay on the bill, and then whoever gets their colors, the most colors out, ends up passing the bill. But you go in turn order and everybody's allowed to spend what the game calls influence. And so the influence thematically could be something like
bribery.
Exactly, it could be some like backroom dealing and stuff. So like everybody like picks up their cubes and you can decide like, And you do it secretly too, so nobody has any
It's the
idea.
shady stuff. It's like, who
It's the shady stuff.
It's like who you know, not like what you know kind of thing. Is that's how you get stuff to go through.
Yeah, mechanically, it just works
agree
so
with
well
that
for the
now.
theme, maybe. But yeah, it
You
was.
always had lots of influence.
It hit. And even the mechanic behind constructing a business works beautifully in this game. So both the middle class and the capitalists can create businesses. And so if it gets to the point where the middle class feels like maybe the working class isn't working with them, he can be sort of diabolical and be like, well, I'm going to build this business that's a small, family-run joint that doesn't hire part-time working class employees, and it's going to be purely self-functional. So you're just going to be unemployed. But then the working class can strike back and say, well, okay, then I'll just go and strike in your other businesses.
And it really also depends on, again, who you're playing with, depending on your class. So for instance, when I was playing working class, I was really cognizant about my population with immigration. So I need to make sure the policies were voted that way and making sure that they were employed. And so as soon as they were not, and there was a mechanism, I think, where if you had too many unemployed individuals, you can have the option of going on strike. And so it's not like you're coming after the other classes, but it's just more of a representation of, hey, we need income because we need to be employed to keep the economy going. So it goes back to just, learning these little things about, right, your class.
Yeah, exactly. And the game facilitates that too, right? Like, because one of the policies you can vote for is the immigration policy. So it's like, okay, we can get more immigrants to increase the economic prosperity of a lot of people at this board, but we also might get an influx of a lot of unemployed people if we don't have enough business to hire these people, which means the working class can go on strike.
That's why you were awful in the middle class, because he kept opposing all immigration, and he really just only like.
That was the strategy. That was the best strategy at the
No
time.
immigration, no trade, just
That was the best strategy. Okay, no, I guess not. I lost. But,
Yeah, that was the worst strategy. Yeah, you lost.
but it felt like a good strategy at the time. I was like, yeah, this makes more sense.
Only like give my own employees jobs and only my companies, and I'll feed only my employees.
Okay, but hear me
and,
out.
like,
One of the mechanics that you have,
self-sufficient.
one of the mechanics you have in the game is the middle class and the lower class, the working class, have to purchase goods. They have to be consumers to gain victory points because it's all about the prosperity of their class.
Since they have no money, they can't sell anything.
Exactly, but it's directly proportionate to the population level. So the higher you rise your population, but be the working class or the middle class, the more you have to supply for them. That's why I kept my population low, because I wanted to keep the costs low.
Keep the demand low so you can keep the supply low. I feel like with any of the classes, you can win. The only one I'm like, on is the state. I feel like the state is not. No, I feel like the state.
We all hate the government.
No, I feel like the state is hardest to win in the game. I think the state's strategy and like goals are very.
You kind of have to balance everybody.
Exactly. It's a little more difficult because it's so like abstract compared to everyone else, where it's very not tangible, but the happiness of your workers, there is a very clear track of how to achieve that. Capitalist money, very easy to keep track of how much money do you actually have. For the state, it was like super unclear. So that's the only one I'm like, that's why I think that's why we talked about it too. There, we love playing in 3 players. So there's no state. There isn't that like unclear figure and unclear objectives. Nobody likes to play the state. So,
but we should say that this is pretty much like a 4-player game. 3-player did work really well.
I think we could have 4-player.
You think so?
I think.
I think the state is important though. You're missing
like
it.
the state.
No?
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like it is a de facto 4-player game, but I think it did function really well.
I would say when we played 3-player, missing the state was a bit of an issue because I think the goal is to make everyone on par balanced, right? You can't have, too many unemployed workers. You can't have capitalists having too much money. So I think the state really does play
He almost
a
looks
role.
like functions like a dungeon master or a moderator.
Yeah.
in a sense, because he's trying to make everybody at the table happy.
I've never gotten a benefit from the state. I was always the losing end.
She's just bitter. And trust me, the state does things. This is a good 4-player game.
It does help with some things. And I do agree that, it's nice to have someone that actually is watching the fund of the state money and stuff. But I kind of like when it's a bit more extreme and like capitalists go really crazy or the working class, middle class. I like being able to.
She likes the chaos.
But we can't just gush endlessly and rave about this
we can't.
game. No, we can't. We are critics. There are some issues. I won't speak for everybody. I'm going to speak for myself.
Good idea.
I did find that we played quite a bit, and everybody got a chance to play every single role. And I felt that the working class was kind of boring. And so because it's asymmetric, you're going to have issues where some people won't have as much fun with some classes.
I agree, but I think it's almost like personality dependent. I feel like it can
can
be
be.
said about any game where, you know, there's asymmetric or like there's different types of player powers and stuff. People have their own personal preferences to things. Like I personally love capitalist class. Working class, I feel like, yeah, you're just stuck being everyone's employee, being a cog in the machine. I think
Rage Against the Machine.
I think it does lead to my personal like values and stuff. That's why,
Maybe.
And that's why I don't like the state, because I feel like it's boring to just bounce something else.
Because we hate the government.
No,
We pay too many taxes.
I mean, always.
Revolution.
Not what I said.
Oh.
But I personally I like having a personal objective, and I like to win. And I feel like the state is just very like, I don't know, like try to be the middleman, be like, it's okay, all the kids can play like and get along well. Like
That could be
I
boring
want
for
to be
some
the victor. Yeah, exactly. That's why I don't like to say, but that's what you said about the working class, and that's why I feel like it depends. I think it's more individual preferences rather than a fault of the game.
Yeah, like when I played working class, I think I totally agree. I felt like the one-way track was to happiness, which to me, excellent.
He's a heathen. He just wants to consume. iPads.
All you do is just work and
Hearts
buy
and
iPads. Yeah, like it really, again, it depends on who you play with, right? So someone coming in and just really, if you have a friend that you want to play with, that you want to introduce them to a sort of heavier game, I feel like this is a really good like introduction to a heavier game. That
4-hour introduction.
no, to a heavier
class.
game.
The class, because you can give the individual the working class, because it's a little simpler, and so they can get their head around it.
Yeah.
But the one criticism I have, which is kind of related to that, and this is an additional criticism, is that the game kind of feels player group dependent, in that it doesn't require it, but it definitely benefits from having the same group of people you play with. Because, and this is a good thing, and this is a bad thing, but the way the balance of the game works is the players balance one another. If the working class gets too far ahead, and score, it is up to the state, for example, to maybe close some businesses in the public available business section. Or maybe it's up to the capitalist class to make their goods a bit more expensive. And if you're a new player and you have a new player sitting at that table, he's not going to balance the other players as well as an experienced player is good. So it's not a huge deal, but it's something to keep in mind.
We really like this game, but we don't think it's for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think that everybody should try it. Everybody should at least try it. I think this is an experience game.
Bring your grandmother, bring your great uncle.
That's right. But everybody should not rush out and buy this game. I know we're hyping the living hell out of this game, but everybody should not. It is amazing. But you should not buy it until you're like dead set sure that your player group is going to enjoy this game.
Yeah, like playing a heavy game like this for the first time, I remember Mike saying, this is going to be a hard game. Like he mentally prepared me to actually pay attention, which you really need to in this game. Yeah. So I guess it could be a con if you're just looking to just hang out with a few friends and just really unwind, so to speak, because this one actually, you need to be fairly engaged, right? Or else you just won't be...
And like pull it out, be like, hey, come over for some drinks and dinner tonight, and they'll be like, 4-hour game, let's go. Unless your friend is like that kind of person would be down for it.
Right.
Yeah, don't just, that's what I'm saying, can't just work this out.
It's a night game.
Yeah.
Understand that.
Come over for this game.
All right, so let's get to final thoughts. Mike, you're the working class. We're going to go bottom up. We're not going to go trickle down. We're going to go bottom up. You start.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the game. It's great. I learned a lot. Love the mechanics. It's just find good friends to play with, I guess. That's my conclusion.
Score.
Oh, score out of
10.
10? Out of 10,
out of what,
9.5.
Oh, yeah. We don't do halves here.
Oh, 9.
Okay.
Yeah. For me personally, it was the top game of 2023. I give it a 10 out of 10. It is my most memorable game of the year. And I think a big part of it is, and if you watched our videos before, you know that I love theme. For me, it's the theme. Theme drives the gameplay. It was so well thought out that I enjoyed every play of it, every minute of it for like the 4 hours per play. And it's the kind of game where I can see wanting to play it 10 years later.
It's so nice and refreshing to see something so incredibly unique that provides such a wonderful, memorable experience when playing. And that it's not for everybody. This is not, these designers didn't set out to create a game that's going to appeal to, everybody. And I love that because sometimes when you try to appeal to everybody, you appeal to nobody. This is going to be a game that's going to require a very specific audience, and I am that audience. And so I would give this a 9. No, a 10. I give this a 9. Yeah, I think it's a brilliant game, and I think it's something that everybody should try. So I hope this review has helped you in trying to make your purchasing decisions. I know we did a lot of hype train stuff.
It's not supposed to be hype train. It's such a good, like, well done game, right? Outside of whether we like this game, just if you look at all the details, it's just so well done. You have to give it a shot.
Yeah, give it a shot.
Even if you don't think the theme is for you, and I'll admit that the theme is not for everybody, but the game, the play, the enjoyment, that, I'm like, who can deny that?
We need to find an economics professor to just play with us and see what their enjoyment level
No,
is.
we'll lose terribly, and then we'll be like embarrassed.
Possibly. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. Peace.
Subscribe, like, comment, all of the
Revolution!
all of that.
Revolutionize the subscribe button. Boom.
Bye.
Peace.
In conclusion, excellent game.
In conclusion.
Edited. Like, edited.